Welcome, everyone. Very excited to have Christopher Hycki with us today. Christopher is the founder and owner of Operator of EM Engineering Solutions, a multidisciplinary engineering firm that started as a research and development initiative and now delivers turnkey solutions to startups and Fortune's 500s alike. Welcome, Christopher, to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here with you.
So, Christopher, what inspired you to start engineering solutions back in 2018? And how did you evolve from a personal research project like your early electric bicycle project Raptor into a company serving clients?
Yeah, like you said, starting as a research initiative back in 2018, we predominantly did a lot of research around light electric vehicles, EVSE charging technologies, and general motor controller apparatuses. And we originally started in a group of, I think it was 100 collective researchers in a collective researching platform where we were just open source sharing files, commits, documents, just other things that we were noticing in the industry. There'd be big breakthroughs. We'd see a new technology come out, and everyone would immediately jump their hands on it, integrate it, and whoever was first to get their technology out was the one who got published. Frequently, we were able to get a couple things in there that were able to get noticed by a lot of big takers, such as Ford, who took a liking to our battery development capabilities, to where moving about this, we did this for about 2 years. Then moving around about to 2020-ish is when we started moving into the consulting space, and we had a big contract with Ford looking at thermal management systems for the Ford Mach-E and other related systems. And that's kind of where we had a nice larger breakthrough there. And just more and more, we got just more engineering design requests and people who were looking for us to take over the entire projects instead of just consult on it. So we bolstered up. We used our research that we have been continuously doing up until that point to bolster up our technical knowledge. And we moved officially. It's hard to pin down the date. I think in 2021 and 2022 is when we officially moved into full service engineering. And we've been doing that now for the last 4 years, going on 5.
And EM Engineering Solutions call itself an innovator of turnkey engineering solutions. Can you explain what that means in practice? I mean, what problems do you solve for your clients and what makes your approach unique?
Yeah, absolutely. So unfortunately, our marketing is a little bit outdated. So I'll kind of refresh it here. So we split ourselves into 3 different aspects: new product development, legacy product modernization, and general contract engineering services, more specifically for existing engineering team. So our general goal is to solve issues in engineering bandwidth, whether that's you have zero engineering team, a lack of talent in your engineering team, or your engineering team is overloaded, their productivity is dipping, and you want to substitute or complement in order to get your project done. Everything revolves around a project-based nature, but we also have ability for retainer systems as well. And within each respect, new product development, we service most often consumer and industrial product development, and occasionally some things in biotech, maybe some aerospace, occasionally just developing new products. And what we mean by turnkey most nearly is taking the process from ideation and ideation all the way to manufacturing and end of life testing. And we support you across that entire frame. We have solutions for every level of it. Most clients will come in with some degree of research and product development done on their own, and we're really taking the load off their shoulders from there, moving it into production and moving forward with there, integrating our new technologies as we move forward. And that kind of segues me into our second category of legacy product modernization, where often a lot of clients will come to us and say, hey, we have a product that is on its way out or already discontinued or was from a while ago, and we want to revive it with new technologies. What we'll do is we'll take that take in a general scope of where they've been in their market and where we've been in our market, and nicely intermingle them so we can get new technologies in there, bolster these products up, and make sure that when we deliver them, they are simple as turning a key. They work as simply as turning a key. That's what we mean by turnkey engineering. Is that when we deliver that client, when we deliver that client, it's deliverable. We want it to be, we want it to work just right as it's supposed to. We want it to be as simple as turning a key, so it's absolutely zero hassle for the end user. And then our third category would be uh, general contract engineering solutions for existing engineering teams, where most of the time we are just subbing in or filling in or complementing an existing team on a project, where we can just use our standard engineering service portfolio for mechanical, electrical, and software, and testing, validation, engineering as well, to complement their services and get them to where they need to be.
As a founder, what major challenges have you faced in scaling your engineer consultancy from a startup to working with larger companies? How have you managed to maintain high quality standards and profitability during periods of rapid growth?
Yeah, it's very tough to do what you do. And a lot of it still relies on legacy and seniority in this industry. Unfortunately, this industry is not the most susceptible to higher startups. There is a pathway that is more or less predetermined where you kind of have to take, when you start from the bottom, you kind of start from the bottom. You have to take the bottom feeder contracts of here's a little DFM revision here, here's a little DFM, the smaller stuff, just to get yourself known, get your name known within the industry, because as the engineering service industry is, it's still dominated by referrals and other legacy methods. So you can't exactly do a LinkedIn sales navigator and get yourself in the door there. Cold calling doesn't exactly work how you think it would, given the project based nature of the business. So unfortunately, you are still waiting to just get what you can get and develop yourself as you can move on. The challenges that we face most predominantly is what I call the January rush, which is in January, where everyone's like, okay, we just got that last year behind us. We have brand new ideas, fresh ideas. Let's put everything into. So I think this January we had maybe 20 projects that came in all throughout maybe like late December to early January. And the difficult part about that is you want to say yes to everything because obviously that's great money. That's great. There was a lot of great potential for us there, and we're still holding on to a couple of them, hoping that they'll convert over. But a lot of it's not, our responsibility to convert over. It's a lot of internal issues they face with funding most of the time. But the challenges you face is that you want to take on everything, and you have to understand number one, what's your team's capability, both to not overextend yourself, but not undersell yourself as well, and make sure that you're being fair to the client and yourself. And it's really just making sure that you're managing things properly so you give everyone their proper attention, because you'll have 20 projects that come in and you want to say yes to everyone, but not everything deserves the same amount of attention or requires the same amount of attention. So you'll give all this effort into this project that may not convert, and you don't know if it's going to convert or not. But there's actually a project that needs a lot of effort that will convert that you are not putting enough effort into. So it's a tough balance when you have lots of influx like that to make sure that you're managing your leads correctly, and on top of that, your general engineering requirements and business development requirements.
Oh, excellent. I mean, talking about a little bit more on team and culture, your team is relatively small and specialized, very specialized. How have you built your team and company culture to support growth? I mean, for instance, what leads you to bring in roles like a head of software engineer or marketing as you start to expand?
Right. So it's tough because this company's my baby. It's been the thing I've done for more or less my entire life. I have not done much within corporate industry. This has been solely what I've done predominantly for most of my career here. So I've taken things very slow. I've not taken on very many risks. I was never I was never a person that wanted to take on massive loans, massive risk like that, because in fear of losing what I've built for the last going on 10 years now. So when you're starting small, when you're starting agile, every hiring decision you make is very important, because to me, you are taking the trust and everything that you have built. You're putting that you're entrusted someone with the well-doing of your company. So every decision you make is very tough, and in and of itself, it's expensive as well. Going from you being the sole, you know, expense there in turn. Well, I mean, you have no expense within yourself. Being the sole,
Mhm.
payroll expense, going
Mhm.
to paying out other people, feeding the families, even the benefits, etc. It certainly gets a lot more complex very quickly, and you have to evaluate those decisions very clearly. And what we've done for the past is stay as lean as we can, because the dilemma I've been in, especially coming into this year, is when you have that January rush of about 20 contracts, you're like, I can say yes to all 20 of these, and now I have 20 projects on my hand. I need to hire them like 30 engineers to do this. And the issue that happens with that is you'll hire those 30 engineers, say, and you'll get through all these projects. Sometimes they're 6 months, 8 months, 18 months, done. And once they're done, now you have 30 engineers doing nothing. Most of the time, like, you'll have another project lined up. Most of the time, you have another project lined up for them. So I have
Mhm.
30 engineers doing nothing in an office that you now just paid for, and now you just hired an HR department and everything to manage. It's very messy, very quick. And what I stress to new founders is keep it as lean as you can, as far as long as you can. So what we've done predominantly is just keep a wide network of either people part time or independent contractors. So you can dynamically vary that because every project's different, every requirement's different. There's months where we've had 20, 30, 100 engineers on a project. And there's months where I've been the only one doing anything around here. So maintaining that flexibility through independent contractor networks for both manufacturing and engineering, in addition to just even if you have more long-term requirements, keeping them on a part-time schedule, keeping them on an hourly schedule. And eventually, if it needs to get to that point, what we have done is we move them from an independent contractor to a part-time schedule to eventually a full-time schedule. And there's a nice pathway for them to through their ranks and get the seniority titles that they do deserve.
Excellent, excellent. I like those insights. Can you share a success story where EM engineering solution help a client, perhaps a startup or a larger firm, overcome an engineering challenge? And what was the impact on their business success or growth?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll talk about one of our projects that we're actually still currently going in the propane and auto gas world. I can't explicitly say too much about it because it's not officially completed out in the market. But it's a company that had zero engineering team to begin with. They were strictly an upfitter, someone who sold propane and the machines that do that without actually developing the machines themselves. They would, take things in. And what happened was, and what we see a lot with our legacy product modernization contracts is that there is a system that goes out of date, or a lot of times they'll be continually doing the systems that they do. And then one part of that system updates to where it's not compatible with the others. And now there's a need for a custom solution that merges new and old technology. And that's what we were able to do for them. Is I can't explicitly say what it does do, but it's within, if you think the gas pumps that are at a gas station or at a petrol station, the calibration that goes into it that makes sure that what comes in is what goes out. It's essentially what we're able to do and making sure that everything talks nicely within there. But what we're able to do for them is save them and save that project. It's a lot of great stuff they do. I can say that they work very heavily with local schools, local airports, local things, and also internationally with a lot of respected countries around the world, employing everything that they support. All kind of ties down to the systems that we develop.
And now, from your perspective in the engineering and technology industry, what emerging trends or technologies are you most excited about? And how do they influence how companies scale their capabilities?
Yeah. The thing I've been most excited for a long time is additive manufacturing. That's kind of where a lot of my roots have started up in. But there's a lot of great technologies that move around additive manufacturing because in its whole, it is a more efficient manufacturing process for some processes, if you will. Because in traditional subtractive manufacturing, you start with a massive piece of stock and you mill it down and you shape it to what you want to be. But additive, you're only extruding what you need. But you can also, within that respect, get some geometries that may not have been used before. And I love the state in which additive manufacturing has been growing. The material science in it has been wonderful. And there's something that completely blew my mind at a trade show the other day. I would love to give this company a shout out, but I unfortunately do not have it in front of me. They are a company that additively manufactures traces, like PCB traces onto objects. So you could say you could additively manufacture where the example they used was a light bulb, right? You can additively manufacture a light bulb, and then you could pick and place LEDs around like around a complex surface, and then you're able to print the copper trace along a complex surface coming into it. It's technologies like that that I love to integrate into specialty applications like that. It's new technologies like that. But the thing going back to my core, going back to what I love to do, love electric vehicles, always love seeing new battery technologies come out. Battery technology has always been one of my favorites. And that's the things I love to integrate most is seeing new battery technologies come out and seeing what we can do with them, especially within the respective e-mobility.
So, talking about our audience, there are a lot of software development agency founders. In your experience, do you see parallels between running an engineering solutions firm and running a software development agency? What are the cross disciplinary lessons in terms of scaling client management or ensuring quality? Or do you think that both apply? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we can speak a little bit onto software just because of embedded firmware is it's adjacent but not explicitly there. But we have some experience doing application development, within the engineering respect of things. And I would say the industries they're distant, but they're decently intertwined enough that I can speak a little bit on it from my experience. When you're talking about, you say SaaS, when you're talking about other software development agencies, within respect of maybe SEO optimization or web design, so things that are not explicitly hardware oriented. There's a little bit of disconnect there, but generally they face similar challenges in client acquisition. But the thing, from what I've heard from my colleagues in those industries, is that a little bit different than us, where you can still do things like a LinkedIn Sales Navigator or other traditional marketing forms. And a lot of them that I stress around and what I'm seeing in them, and things that, in my personal opinion, is that they do not deliver enough. Most software companies do not deliver enough value for the price that they're offering, and that mostly boils down to that their product is not unique enough. Unfortunately, in today's day and age, there exists too many ChatGPT or LLM wrapped things where, hey, I'm going to create some pretty little interface that does some mundane task, some mundane office task for you. And it's really just an LLM wrapped base of something from some source, most likely ChatGPT or open AI model.
Okay.
And unfortunately, a lot of these AI optimizations, I feel, go over people's heads, and they certainly go over my head as well, because, my opinion of it is that, to be, in order to be paying this amount of money at certain skills, I mean, it depends on the skill as well. And that's where I think these software companies, if this is truly what you're doing, to focus your expectations, because the average user, if you look at industrially, even for a company of say 50 people, some of these optimizations may not even at that scale bring the most gains for what you want to see. What you're really targeting is the enterprise modules, is the people, was companies who have thousands of employees, that this mundane task actually does add a lot of workload onto them. So that
Okay.
optimization makes sense in their regard. And it also it helps with that scale of things. It also helps on the lower scale of things. Say you have an independent founder, you have an independent startup that's just one person that needs help with these things, so he can focus his attention on elsewise. That works great. Kind of the middle of the road is kind of where that disconnect I see is. The same levels of delivering value and ensuring that your clients are satisfied and delivering a turnkey product is kind of where I hope to see a lot of firms engage in more, because unfortunately I see within a lot of firms, either the product is not differentiated enough, their product is not, it's not differentiated enough, it's not unique enough, or it's not priced properly, or just a lot of times it's just it's not stable enough. It's not, when they do, when you pay X amount of money for a product, you expect that it comes back working, even more so that it should work better than what you expect for what you pay the money for.
Now, your company emphasizes a commitment to quality, innovation, and a client centered approach. How do you practically uphold quality and innovation when juggling multiple projects or rapid growth? Can you give example of processes or practices that have worked for you?
Right. I mean, certainly it does become difficult, but the thing I am most proud of us in is our quality management documentation system, which includes quality checks along the way. So in the case of physical deliverables, we are always inspecting anything before it comes out. We have a rigorous inspection process for qualitative and technical objectives. We have our internal documentation processes that are always shared with our clients. And it's a very long documentation document that makes sure we go over the entire project and make sure that no details left unchecked, just so that, number one, we're delivering a client the most value we can, of the most quality we can, and make sure we're not missing any details there. But also to make sure that when we are delivering those variable or deliverables, say months down the line from when they originally conceptualized, we can go back and cross check our references to make sure that we are hitting on everything that we said we were going to hit on months ago. But even within its respect, there's a lot of automated systems that we go into, especially within the engineering side. When you look at softwares, within the softwares we use, there's a lot of checks, and something that we do love to use, especially a product of Ansys as well, is our virtual compliance checkers. So especially in a lot of projects, there is a lot of industrial certifications that you have to go for, be it UL, UN, CSA, etc. And a lot of processes are able to be automated for checking. So we're able to make sure that when we deliver that product or that deliverable to the client, that's going to be upheld to that standard and be sent for the standards review, that we have our internal validation protocols to make sure that they will pass even here, and even more so here than before we send it off.
Nice, nice. As a young founder who has grown a company from scratch, what's your vision for the future of engineering solutions? And how do you plan to continue growing sustainably while maintaining the values that got you here?
Yeah, I mean, it's our future is bright. I would say that our future is definitely very bright. And I've, over maybe the last couple months, really been thinking about what is truly the future I want to take it. The way I wanted maybe 5 years ago was to continue being a leader. I mean, we are still continuing to be a leader of innovation within industrial research, and I perceive that, well, that was probably still within our path on line and within that respect. I think what my 10-year goal was to move over to an OEM status and really focus on our internal product line of things. But as we've gone deeper and deeper into the contract engineering space, I feel a lot of our future has been kind of more or less moved into solution sets and making sure that we can, number one, grow our team to expand into larger and larger projects, more industries at that as well. But also something adjacent I've possibly saw ourselves getting to as well was maybe the full AEC service of it and kind of expanding to the AEC side of things. So those are three pathways we could go down, and both hold equal weight in my heart here. And I will absolutely see as time goes on. But I mean, we've absolutely been taking things day by day, year by year, and seeing where the market takes us more or less. Because I remember when we started this, it was strictly mechanical. I didn't think electrical was ever coming. That was not my interest, but market demanded of me. We went into it, and I came to find I have a great passion for electrical engineering. So the market demands absolutely interesting stuff of us, and it sometimes comes out to be a passion. So we take things year by year, and we'll see where the world leaves me, but absolutely will be a bright future no matter what.
Nice, nice. If you were to be, no, so that was really incredible, insightful. I really appreciate your openness and example that you have given today. Any final thoughts, any final message for our audience, our tech agencies, founders, and software development companies? Any statement?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, the thing I reiterate to a lot of people, and the things that I still struggle to this day is you know your worth. Don't be afraid to charge what you need to charge, because that's something we struggle with for a long time, was making sure that we're being fair to our clients and what we are billing based off our experience levels and what the project demands, but also not undercharging within that respect as well. And I think a lot of even just not even we're talking about billing, you know what you can do. Clearly, people, I'm speaking to those founders, to those tech entrepreneurs, people who are in this path. You know you're on this path for a reason. You have an idea, you have a vision, you have a goal. You can get to that place, and you know that you have the ability to. And I think a lot of people either will psych themselves out or stop at their first setback. It's absolutely still possible. It's absolutely still probable. I think people should really stick to what they know they can do and just move forward with it with the full force that they can, and enjoy the process along the way. It's truly an amazing journey. And I know those who are just joining us will come to find that you would not have it any other way. So I implore people to really follow their passions and see where it leads them, because there's a lot of green on the other side.
All right. No, again, Christopher, thank you so much for being here today. It was really very insightful, and I appreciate your openness and examples to our audience. Thank you so much for your time today.
Absolutely. Thank you.